In the musculoskeletal system, instability-based offenses are considered especially heinous. In the Upper Limb City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Musculoskeletal Unit. These are their stories.
Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk. I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. The music-
There seems to be an instability issue with shoulder industries. Aye, Sherlock Bones will get to the bottom of this. But first, let me brush up on my anatomy.
Copyright in these lectures is either owned by the ANU or a third party who has
The bone framework of the shoulder consists of the clavicle, the scapula, and the head of the humerus. The lateral end of the clavicle articulates with the acromion of the scapula, while the glenoid cavity of the scapula articulates with the head of the humerus. This is the glenohumeral joint, also known as the shoulder joint. It is a synovial ball and socket joint. Movements at the glenohumeral joint include flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, lateral rotation, medial rotation, and circumduction. Flexion is carried out by muscles that cross the anterior aspect of the glenohumeral joint, that is, the pectoralis major, anterior fibers of the deltoid, long head of the biceps, and coracobrachialis. Extension is carried out by muscles that cross the posterior aspect of the glenohumeral joint, that is, teres major, posterior fibers of the deltoid, long head of the triceps, and latissimus dorsi. Abduction is carried out by muscles that cross the lateral aspect of the glenohumeral joint, that is, supraspinatus and deltoid. Adduction is carried out by muscles that cross the medial aspect of the glenohumeral joint, that is, subscapularis and pectoralis major on the anterior side, and teres major and latissimus dorsi on the posterior side. Medial rotation is carried out by subscapularis, pectoralis major, the anterior fibers of the deltoid, teres major and latissimus dorsi. Lateral rotation is carried out by infraspinatus, the posterior fibers of the deltoid, and teres minor. The glenohumeral joint is particularly lax, and thus is stabilized by a group of muscles known as the rotator cuff, that is, subscapularis on the anterior side, and supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and teres minor on the posterior side.
Aha! Since it's a stability issue, it must be the muscles of the rotator cuff. Bones does it again. State your name, function, innovation, and attachments.
Seriously? Like, OMG! Do I have to explain everything? You know, I am subscapularis. You know, I'm innervated by the subscapular nerve. I attach at the subscapular fossa and insert into the lesser tuberosity of the humerus. Unlike those losers on the posterior scapula, I do all the work on my side, you know, like immediately rotating the humerus.
You know me, man. I'm infra, and I'm innervated by the femoral nerve, and I attach to the tibia. What's the other question?
Function.
Oh, I dorsiflex the ulnar mamans.
Oh, your records show that you're innervated by the suprascapular nerve, originate at the infraspinous fossa, and attach at the middle facet of the greater tuberosity of the humerus and capsule of the shoulder joint. You perform lateral rotation of the humerus.
Whatever you say, man.
Yo, I'm teres minor, T minor for short. Laterally rotate and stabilize the shoulder. I also am innervated by the axillary nerve and attach onto the greater tuberosity of the humerus and the capsule of the shoulder. We done yet? Red light means off?
Yes. Have you noticed anything suspicious at work recently?
Well, between you and me, word on the scapula is there's a little something extra going on between acromion and supraspinatus, if you know what I mean.
I'm supraspinatus. I abduct the arm and stabilize the shoulder joint. But you know, lately I just feel like I've been doing too much work around here. I'm real burnt out. It'd be good to see my family once in a while, you know?
Innovation and attachments.
What? I insert at the greater tuberosity of the humerus, and my origin is at the supraspinous fossa, and suprascapular nerve is my innervation. Can I go? Is this interview over? Because like I need to go see my family, you know? I gotta go.
Due to his handsome looks and uncanny powers of deduction, Bones deduced that given the movement performed at the time of injury was abduction, supraspinatus was responsible for the instability issue.
Restate your attachments.
I told you, man, my origin is at the suprascapular fossa, and I inserted the greater tuberosity of the humerus. Man, look, I gotta go pick my kids up from school.
You neglected to mention that you get under the acromion.
What? What are you talking about? Okay, I admit it. One day we were working late, one thing led to another, we got really close and now I've been playing the I can't abduct the shoulder, alright?
Bones does it again.
When abducting the arm, the supraspinatus tendon can get injured and inflamed from the acromion when it is overworked. Continual irritation of the tendon can lead to a rotator cuff tear. We see in our story that the supraspinatus muscle is overworked through excessive abduction of the arm, and as such has been impinged by the acromion, resulting in a torn tendon and shoulder instability.